I met a gypsy.
I think, yeah, you just make it almost like a pit board. Like there's a zone where you can show the pit. It's not like you can follow the run around the track with the rider and keep showing in the pit board. And I think, you just have designated zones where it's just like, this is green for comms.
Right.
The rider can talk to you at any point. And then like how I would see it working is, because I've rode, again, I'm, for everyone listening, I'm not Jett Lawrence and I'm not racing with any, like I get that. But I did some coaching with Townley in Oz and we had like the in-ears and stuff going, and just we spoke the whole time.
Oh yeah.
It just was not an issue in the way that you kind of would have, it doesn't like frighten you. It doesn't like, you know that person's there. Like, you know that there's communication going. So yeah, I just think, I guess that's probably a good point is like, is it important enough? Like, is it going to move the needle? And it's like, I personally think so. And it's just like, it would be a matter of like trying it, you know?
Yeah.
But I think too, for like rider safety, blue flags, like lappers, I think it would be huge.
Right.
Like every rider has, maybe not every rider has two-way, I guess, but then you've got to kind of make it fair for everybody. But it's like, there should, I think one thing that Supercross needs as well is like a legit race control, which I think they've sort of half had a bit of this year. And I think they're maybe trying to do a bit more of coming into next year.
Yeah.
But like one dude, race control, and then he can push the button on either all riders or individual riders, to where it's like, I think about Kenny and Coop at Dallas with like the lappers. Houston.
That was the last race I was a mechanic, by the way. I was a mechanic for Kenny that night.
Oh, really?
Because his mechanic got COVID.
So you remember that
Dean
scenario.
Wilson.
Like, so imagine then if you could communicate to Ken. Like, I'm sure, like, so
I'd rather communicate to Dean to like, hey, get out of the way.
Well, that wouldn't be your job. That would be
right.
That would be like the race control guy, you know? So it's like race control can just go straight in. Dean Wilson, hey, leaders are coming. They're on your left, like NASCAR spotter style, basically. But then imagine if you could be in Kenny's ear that. And like let's say you and him have the relationship where you can be like, go Kenny, come on, you know, and then like he's wants that out of, like, I just feel like it could be add like a whole layer of complexity to the sport that we kind of, you know, we're just leaving on the table in a sense, you know?
Yeah. Maybe we need to try it in a lesser series or one-off race or something like that to see how it works. And also if the equipment is even, I don't even know what they have right now for, you know, capabilities without having like the big old walkie-talkie thing on the side of your helmet.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have cool stuff, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think I'd say they'd be able to do, I'm sure you'd be able to do like almost like a receiver transmitter on the bike itself and then run them wirelessly.
Right.
And you just have like wireless in-ears. Like there's so much crazy cool
for sure
stuff that you could do. But yeah, anyway, I think that's one of my big kind of, I just think it would do like a lot for the series. Is there any other stuff that you can think of that you'd love to kind of implement?
One thing that I joke about is because so many people get so like bummed about the starting great, especially for outdoor, and they want to go back to dirt. And I get it, you know, because the dirt is what we've always used and it takes more technique. I guess one thing that would be cool is if I think is if you had for outdoors especially, you know, whatever that promoter wants to run on that track, if he wants to have a concrete start, great start, or dirt start, just go for it. They kind of used to be that way back in the day. And there'd be guys like Kevin Windham that would be amazing on concrete. Yeah. And then, you know, guys that wouldn't be, you know, so the technique was so different that you had to kind of, you know, just be prepared for that. Also, it was cool when they didn't have starting lockdowns, you know, because then it was big time technique. Yeah. So, but then again, I would hate to not have my Works Connection locked down. No, sponsor plug.
They are good.
But so anyway, yeah, I think about that kind of stuff, you know, or like interesting things like that to make it back to technique and whatnot. But I'm sure there's plenty of other things I'm not thinking of right now because I definitely like to try to, you know, come up with something new and different.
And like, so let's say Feld comes to you, because this is the thing I think that our sport kind of doesn't do well in comparison with other motorsports is like, we never change the rules.
Well, I would say that we never change the rules, but they have the last couple of years, right? They added Triple Crowns, and then they, especially with SMX now, they've totally done that different.
Formats and stuff. But mate, I'm thinking more like motorcycles, like what you said about like whole shot devices.
Oh, okay.
So, and I think the thinking there is like there'd probably just be a lot of pushback, and I'm sure Feld is just going like, fuck it. Like, it's just not worth, like, that ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But how would you feel, let's say Feld comes to you and they go, hey.
This is probably more of an AMA question.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, okay. So I think that it should be up to Feld because it's part of the entertainment in a sense, in the way that.
They do work together. So, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I would say you go, like every 2 years in F1, there's a rule change. Obviously, we can't do that because it's like production motorcycle. Like, it's just, that's not the game that we're playing.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure you could do like no whole shot devices. And they just go like, all right, we're banning those. It's going to be based, or they can only be this deep or like whatever.
Right.
But what would something like that, how would that come across to you? Obviously, the whole shot one you're kind of a fan of. But it's like, because all that does is make more work for you, changes, more testing. And it's like, you guys are already stacked doing all the stuff that you've got to get done. So it's like, is that stuff just a crazy huge inconvenience, or is that the kind of thing where you could go, all right, that's our changes for this year, we've got to adapt, it's like gives us a new challenge, it's kind of gonna change up like the way that things get done. Like, would you be open to that kind of thing as like a team manager in a team?
I think so, but it would depend on what that is and how much of an impact it would be on our team, or how much we've had prepared and planned out for the future, but I think at some point, like certain things that do get changed. Next year our sound rule is changing.
Okay.
For example, like because in the future, our sound is going to be limited even more. So we're not going to be able to round up anymore. Right now MXGP is like, it's the sound limit's 112, right? And then they give you 2 dB for the weather and all that. So it's basically, you just call it 114.0.
Yeah.
You cannot be over 114.0 or else you fail. We round up to 14.9. So we can be 14.9 until, if we're 15, we're failing. That's going to be different this year. They're switching that back to 14.0, which is a little bit more along those lines. Like they're making rule changes. There's a new rule book coming out, by the way, too. That's going to have a bunch of different things in it. So, so I am like okay with doing certain things, but it's difficult to say what those things could be.
Yeah.
And not kind of, for one, make an improvement, because that's what
you'd be doing it for. Yeah.
F1, they're doing it to bring racing together and closer together, right? And all the different wing changes to create actual passing.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there's things that we can do to create better passing and more opportunity for people, it's hard though. Like if we have Jett Lawrence and he's amazing in the whoops, and they say, the racing was really good at SMX with no whoops, let's just take him out.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
And I don't think a real Supercross fan should want that either, right?
That either, yeah.
Right, because the track should be gnarly and the best riders should win. But if the best rider wins every single race, like happening outdoors, then it's kind of a positive and a negative, I guess. But then again, the best riders that wins that's how it should be. The best guy should win. So yeah, it's hard, I guess. Like I said, it would have to depend on what it was.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com. packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.